All right. Hello, everyone. We're so excited to chat with Lyndsey Harper today. We'd love to hear a little bit more about your story and how you started this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much. So yes, I am originally from Arkansas. I moved to Dallas, Texas for my OBGYN residency, and then I joined a private practice as an OBGYN here in Dallas and was just, moving right along, delivering a lot of pregnant patients and doing some surgery and all the things, providing contraception and STI care, all of that. But one thing that kept coming up in my practice were sexual health problems. And I know I'm not alone with that, right? Because I've talked to enough people now to know that that wasn't just my patients, but in fact, 43% of women actually have a sexual concern. And, I think for most of us, including physicians, nurse practitioners on the mental health side, like no one gets taught how to talk to their patients about sexual health. And because of that, what I was seeing is number one, I was feeling badly about my own skills because I don't, the worst thing in the world is for a patient to especially share something so big and important with you. And then you be like, meh, like, I don't know, like read a book or it felt very like I was not honoring that disclosure and that I was really just ignoring something that was really big and important to my patients by not having any good answers for them. So when we brush women's sexual health to the side saying, oh, it's all in your head or, it's too complicated for us as physicians or as nurse practitioners, we're really, perpetuating some serious misogyny in medicine, and we got to correct that. And so that
Amen.
became yes. Oh my gosh, I could talk about that for days. So that became very clear and apparent to me. And I'm like, wait, why has no one really taken this head on? We have two FDA approved medications for, women with sexual problems and 26 for men. But where is the organization where patients can go to learn about these things, to advocate, to, advance research? And there wasn't one. I couldn't find one. This was in 2018. And I was like, man, this feels like my thing. This feels like the moment.
So I would love to know like what one of the barriers, because sexual health is like unfortunately so new, especially for a woman. So with starting your business, have you found that it's been a lot of like educating? Because a lot of practitioners don't even know that this is so needed for their patients.
So, I think that when you break it down like that, like my grand rounds is called women's sexual health. It's not that complicated. When it becomes more approachable for people, then they feel empowered to have the discussion. But when it's like nebulous and Pandora's box and complicated, no one's going to touch it. And so I think there's a huge piece of education on the provider side of things. And then for me in my business as well, there's a lot of education just for the media, for investors, like just general population education. The vehicle for that to me was, a digital application because it's dynamic, it can be ever changing, we can personalize it. And I think there's such a need for that in sexual health. One of my favorite sex therapists talks about that everyone's sexuality is as unique as their fingerprint. So if we just like launch a book, that's going to land with different people in different ways. But if we have an app that has an algorithm behind every single question you answer, like we can curate the experience to be different for each person. And that, once again, is complicated. It takes work. It's not easy like it sounds, but it's worth it and it's meaningful and it needs to be done. And so we're, every day trying to tackle those challenges.
Yeah, I mean, I really loved how customized it is. Like you really ask like
The
in-depth
questions are
questions and
so good. How, for yourself, like when you first got interested in this, if you can kind of like look back and remember the way that you used to ask about or take a sexual health history and the way
Yeah.
that that has, I'm sure, dramatically changed since you've been
Yeah.
doing the work that you're doing.
I learned along the way, obviously, to expand my understanding and expand for my patients their definition of sex, their definition of sexual health. Like sex is not about number of lifetime partners, like it or not. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing. And so I think that whenever we, for ourselves, to your point, have changed our context, that naturally comes across in the way that we speak to patients about it. And we're able to understand how sex plays into overall health from a much more holistic standpoint, and vice versa, how health plays into sexual health There are so many things that we see, not as patients, but also as patients, but in our seats that may go completely unaddressed if we don't speak up and do something about them, right? And I think that's the way we change medicine for women to come, is by stepping up and saying, listen, this isn't right. Like, why are all the options that we have for XYZ crap? You know what I mean? Like, this is not okay, because that's the difference between how things have been and how things could be, is literally each of us in those moments standing up and demanding something better, or even better, making something better happen.